Unit 3 in God and Church is my journey, witnessing and ministering for Christ. And it's going to follow the familiar pattern. We're going to see, how did Jesus witness and minister? How does your church witness and minister? And then discover ways that you can enter into the witnessing and ministry of your church. Lesson 6, learning how Christ witnessed and ministered to others. We're going to discover Jesus just didn't preach. He was a man of action. We're going to look at his miracles and how he asked people, what do you want? And he saw individuals, and he saw their specific needs. He entered into their pain. He wanted to alleviate their pain. And so we're going to see where he healed the lame. He restored sight to the blind. And we're going to question, why did Jesus perform miracles? What greater purpose did his miracles serve? And we're going to discover it was to invite people into relationship with him. And his miracles were to point to God and to God's love for them. And so we're also going to look at Jesus talking with a Samaritan woman and discover that his ministry stems from his compassion. Jesus defied all social standards in talking to a Samaritan and talking to a woman, and yet look at how he shared God's love and offered grace and mercy, and how we are to do the same. When we touch someone and meet their needs, they go out and tell the whole village. And so we're going to look at Jesus, a man of action, and sharing God's love. And then we're going to talk about good works in general. Are good works required for salvation? No, salvation's a free gift. But good works show our faith in God, that it's not enough to say we believe. We got to put our faith into action. And so what are the purposes of our good works? It's to show that we believe. It's to share God's love. It's to point other people, when they see our when they see our good works, that they will praise our Father in heaven. After looking at how Jesus ministered to others, we're going to explore, how does your congregation witness and minister to others? And you make a flowchart of your church, discover how your church is structured, what are the programs put into place to reach out to people, yes, in your congregation, yes, in your community, in your neighborhood, but even beyond that, in the world. And so you're going to discover, does your church have a greeting card ministry? Do you visit shut-ins? Does your church, how involved are they in the community? Do they support the food pantry? And then beyond that, do you have international outreach like Operation Christmas Child? Does your church pack shoe boxes? Discover all the different programs that your church uses to share the love of God. Here's a page out of Kieran's scrapbook, showing that they collect food, they collect school supplies, they pack meals, they have lots of volunteers for their activities. After you've seen how Jesus witnessed and ministered in the programs of your church, Project 3 is going to be the final part of Unit 3. Discover how you can witness and minister to others. And there are going to be 3 parts to this project. Number 1 is you're going to invite someone to church. And you can invite them to an online service. You can give them a tour of your congregation through your church's website. Introduce them to your pastor. Introduce them to your youth group leader. Invite someone to church. Talk about that experience. And then you got 2 volunteer opportunities. One is you need to volunteer for your congregation, for your church, and you need to pick a program. And maybe at this point it might be calling and interviewing some of the chairpersons of the different departments. How can you get involved? Can you get involved in the greeting card ministry? How can you reach out to people in your church? And the 3rd project is volunteer in a community agency. Can you help collect canned goods for your food pantry? What are the ways that you can get involved? And even now, even if you can't leave home, what are the ways that you can learn about these projects, and how can you support them? interview the people, find out ways that you can support them even if you're staying at home. We've been using this scrapbook to show the different activities, to show a sample of a scrapbook. But one of the other choices for students is actually to make a video. And I forgot to mention that when we were going through the different parts of the program. But in Unit 1, when you're meeting Christ, one of the video ideas is put together a newscast on the life of Jesus. Find your favorite events, recreate them, do a on the scene breaking news. What? Jesus is alive? Have a complete newscast, have the weather, have commercials. Put together a fun video segment. When you're looking at the worship, Unit 2, how worshiping God, how does your church worship, how can you worship? Get a behind the scenes video of the choir practicing, or interviews with the choir director, with your pastor, with the sound people. Who are the people that make sure that all the PowerPoints and the sound is successful? And then in the witnessing and ministering for Christ in Unit 3, some of the common video segments that we see is a documentary on a specific community agency, on the food pantry, or interviews with people who run the Operation Christmas Child or Shoebox emphasis at your church. Have fun with the video portion to capture the whole scope of the God in Church program. As we mentioned before, the last requirement in the God in Church program is the final interview with your pastor. In our resource library online, we have sample questions, an outline of questions that the pastor can use to walk through the program with your child. It's really an opportunity for the pastor to connect with your child, to encourage your child, and just to reinforce what they've learned. Now that their hard work is done, it's time to order their award. Your uniform shows all that you've learned, all that you've accomplished, and we believe that your uniform should also show that you are a person of faith. And so wear the P.R.A.Y award. Be ready to tell others what you did to earn your religious award. Encourage them to earn their own. The religious awards are pictured in the student workbook. Don't forget that there are denominational pins that can be worn in the ribbon of the award. You can go to the P.R.A.Y website, specifically to the web store, and the P.R.A.Y web store will allow you to fill out the paperwork and order the recognitions at the same time. I hope you and your child have a fun time with your God in Church journey. Blessings to you as you grow stronger in faith, as you grow closer in faith to each other. Thank you.